And welcome back to another video on the Football Zone and to a weekend review, reviewing a big weekend of Premier League and Championship action. So let's get straight into it with West Ham 1, Newcastle 1. Craig Dawson gave West Ham a lead in the 32nd minute and Willock equalised just a few minutes later, right on the stroke of half time. And yeah, in the end, it finished a draw. Newcastle actually played really well here and probably were the better side. West Ham were pushing to get the win, but just couldn't get it. And yeah, it really is a big blow for their top four hopes, but Newcastle just keep getting better. Moving on then to a team that keeps getting better, Southampton 2, Everton 0, goals from Stuart Armstrong and Shane Long. And yeah, this was a great run for Southampton, really good performance. And yeah, just, like I say, just really going from strength to strength under Ralph Hasenhuttl till 10th in the league at the moment on a really good run. So they'll be delighted with that. As for Everton, really disappointing because I really hope that match against Leeds last week would kind of turn a tide for them, but it certainly hasn't done. Which yeah, is obviously disappointing. Moving on then to Liverpool 3, Norwich 1 at Anfield, and it could be a bigger win than we realised at the time with the City result. Rashica gave Norwich a shock lead right after half-time in the 48th minute, but goals from Salah, Mane and Diaz, great team on the score sheet, turned the tide. And yeah, Liverpool really, when they turned on, they killed the game off pretty quickly. And yeah, with City dropping points, it's a huge opportunity for Liverpool to really make some ground up. Norwich, it's always a free hit. Taking the lead wasn't dreadful at all. Moving on then, Crystal Palace 0, Chelsea 1 was the score at Selhurst Park. The only goal of the game coming in the 89th minute from Hakim Ziyech. He also had a goal disallowed by VAR in the 75th minute. But yeah, Chelsea in the end, a massive relief to get the win. I wouldn't say they were that much better than Palace. To be honest, there wasn't a lot in the game at all really. Chelsea with only 3 shots on goal, Palace with none, which kind of sums it up. But the main thing for Chelsea, getting the win, and yeah, they do look pretty secure in their Champions League spot as it stands. Moving on then to Burnley away at Brighton. They won 3-0. Great result for them. Weghorst, Brownhill and Lennon with the goal. And yeah, Weghorst looks like a really great signing for Burnley. But yeah, this was really poor from Brighton. I wouldn't say there wasn't a lot between the two teams, but yeah, Burnley was just really clinical, and Burnley needs to show this more consistently, just to really give them a good survival hope. Brighton, yeah, they need to turn around because they were poor here. Moving on then to another huge result for a team staring down relegation. Aston Villa 0, Watford 1. Dennis in the 78th minute gave Watford the lead, and yeah, a solid win for Watford. Really needed that. And yeah, it just gives them a glimmer of hope because it hadn't started well under Roy Hodgson, but that hopefully does. For Villa though, they weren't bad here, had plenty of shots, but just really weren't clinical enough, to be honest. Disappointing result for them, really disappointing. But moving on, Arsenal 2, Brentford 1 was the score at the Emirates. Smith, Rowe and Saka with 2 goals in the 48th and 79th minute. Norgard got a consolation goal in the 93rd minute, and yeah, in the end, it was 3 points for Arsenal, and yeah, another solid result for Arsenal. 2 wins on the trot now, as they're building towards top 4, hopefully for them. And yeah, they are looking good. But for Brentford, always going to be a free hit. Gave it a good go, but they do need to start picking up some points soon, otherwise I do feel they could be sucked into it. Man City 2, Tottenham 3 was a shock result of the weekend, at least in the Premier League. Kulusevski gave Tottenham the lead in the 4th minute, and Gundogan in the 33rd minute equalised. Kane then gave Tottenham the lead 2-1, and then I thought it made it 3-1, but it was disallowed. This allowed Mahrez to equalise in the 92nd minute from the spot, but Kane 3 minutes later gave Tottenham the win. And yeah, this was peak Antonio Conte, really showing what he can do. And for City, they were poor here, but Tottenham, what a result. We just need to see this more often. Yeah, what a game. Moving on then from one brilliant game to another brilliant game, a great weekend at Barclays. Leeds 2, Manchester United 4. It's thought would be a cruise for United when they went 2-0 up before half time, but 2 goals in 20 seconds really from Rodrigo and Rafinha equalled it up. And then yeah, you really thought Leeds could push on, but goals from Fred and Elland gave United a win. And yeah, that's a huge win, because when it was 2-2 you really thought that could be United's top sport as hopes over, but fair play to them, they came back. Leeds will be gutted though, especially to lose to their arch rivals like that. Wolves 2, Leicester 1 was the score at Molineux in the Premier League on Sunday. And yeah, Wolves got off to a flying start with Neves in the 9th minute. Lookman equalised in the 41st minute, but Podence struck in the 67th minute and gave Wolves a 2-1 win. And yeah, you probably say it was a harsh result on Leicester, to be honest. They probably created more chances, but yeah, just weren't clinical enough. Really missing Jamie Vardy. But for Wolves, a great win and keeps them in the hunt for European positions. And for Brendan Rodgers, the pressure just grows. To the Championship now, and a shock result at Craven Cottage where it finished Fulham 1, Huddersfield 2. Walden Holmes gave Huddersfield a 2-0 lead before the break, and Bobby Decordova-Reid got a late goal for Fulham in the 82nd minute. Fulham huffed and puffed, looking for the equaliser, dominating really, but it didn't come, and Huddersfield held on to a truly great victory. They were in good form before, but I really didn't see this coming. An incredible result for Huddersfield, and really does let the teams in and around the playoffs know that they're here to stay. For Fulham, yeah, won't get too concerned just yet, but still disappointing result. Moving on then, Sheffield United 4, Swansea 0. And yeah, this was a great result for Sheffield United. Total dominance from start to finish after a few draws. Gibbs White, Baldock Sharp, and Gibbs White another with the goals. Really cementing themselves as here to stay in the playoff race. Under Heckingbottom, they've looked really good. But for Swansea, this poor result, once again, disappointing performance, and yeah, their form really isn't great at the moment. It definitely needs improving. Moving on then to Cardiff 1, Blackpool 1 at the Cardiff City Stadium. Blackpool took the lead in the 11th minute before Bagan in the 49th minute scored, and Cardiff got the point. And yeah, great result for Cardiff. They'll be very, very pleased with that. Indeed, really, because for them it's just about keeping away from the relegation zone. For Blackpool though, it's a few draws in a row really, but yeah, nothing really to worry about. They're mid-table, so I think both teams will be relatively happy. Moving on then to Stoke 2, Birmingham 2 at the Bet365 Stadium. James gave Birmingham a lead in the 12th minute before Tyrese Campbell got 2 goals. Really, really great to see him backfiring here. Back to his best, because obviously he hasn't had the best few years with that ACL injury, and hopefully he can get back to what we saw before that. And then Gardner equalised for Birmingham in the 58th minute. But yeah, I'd say a draw was probably a fair result here. But moving on then to QPR 1, Hull 1. Fours in the 26th minute gave Hull the lead before Chair in the 75th minute equalised. And yeah, for QPR, it's a disappointing result. They were definitely the better team here, but they really do need to start picking up results because otherwise they are in danger of moving out of the playoffs. So I think the automatics are long gone now. But yeah, this was disappointing on their behalf. But for Hull, 2 really solid draws away from home recently. They'll be happy with that. Moving on then to Reading, who actually won a game. Just bloody miracle, and then they sacked the manager afterwards. But oh god, that club just confuses me. But yeah, they raced into a 3-0 lead with goals from Zhao and Swift at Java 2, and Johnson and Archer gave Reading a heart attack. But in the end, they held on. Really disappointing for Preston, especially with their recent run of form. They can't afford results like that if they want to be in the playoff race. But for Reading, great result. And then they sacked Paunovic and put Paul Ince in. Great way to ruin your first game in 2.5 months, I would probably say. Not Paunovic, but Paul Ince. But moving on then, Luton 2, West Brom 0 was the score at Kenilworth Road. Cameron Jerome and Campbell gave Luton the 2 goals to give them the win. And yeah, great result for Luton. West Brom were probably the better side here, but just weren't clinical enough going forward. Really missing DK. But for Luton, great win, and the pressure probably already is growing on Steve Bruce. The playoffs is looking really, really tough for them now, realistically. Moving on then to an absolutely huge win for Derby at Pride Park. It came in the 92nd minute through Louis Sibley, and Derby held on. Great result for them, but there were 2 red cards. Coulson in the 35th minute for Peterborough, and Tom Lawrence in the 47th minute for Derby, and he's now out for a few games, which could be a huge miss for Derby. But the win here, 5 points within Reading. I would kind of say, even though they're level on points, Peterborough, they're very unlikely to survive now. I think it really is between Derby and Reading, and at the moment I'm 100% taking Derby. Moving on then, Coventry 1, Barnsley 0 was the score at the Coventry Building Society Arena. And yeah, Dom Hine with a goal in the 93rd minute. And yeah, for Coventry, absolutely great result. I mean, it took their time. It wasn't their best performance, and it was a scrappy goal, but a great win for Coventry. For Barnsley though, especially after picking up that win last time out, it'll be devastating. Just ruling them out of the survival race really. But moving on then to Bristol City 2, Middlesbrough 1, another shock result. Vyman and Semenya gave Bristol City a 2-0 lead. Crooks pulled one back late on, but Middlesbrough couldn't find the equaliser, and Bristol City held on despite it being really Middlesbrough dominance, and that's disappointing for Chris Wilder. They do need to recover from that quickly, so yeah. Just to stay in the playoff race, because it's so close and congested in there, so that's what they really need to do. To be honest, a bit great result for Bristol. But anyway guys, that's it for the video. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe, write your thoughts, comments down below, follow us, link, subscribe for daily football news, scores and channels, green man, I'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace.